That night, New York City glittered with a strange intensity. The studio was at full capacity. Audience members shoulder to shoulder, eyes darting but lips sealed. No one spoke, no one laughed. They didn't fully understand what was coming, but they sensed it in their bones. Something massive was about to erupt. Karoline Leavitt walked onto the stage, not as the White House press secretary, not as a political figure, but as a messenger bearing a secret the powerful had buried. In her hand was a small USB stick, but she clutched it like it was a sword drawn in battle. She didn't need notes. She didn't need a microphone. What she carried was truth, and the courage to speak it. Sitting across from her was Oprah Winfrey. Media, queen, billionaire, the woman who shaped the American television landscape. But this time, Oprah wasn't the one asking questions. Tonight, she would be answering them. The media couldn't steer this moment. The usual script had been torn apart. And in its place was a collision between two titans that would leave the world watching, frozen. The air in the studio was thick like storm clouds, pulsing with nervous energy. Under the floodlights, Leavitt stood still, shoulders square, gaze unshaken, jaw locked with purpose. Across from her, Oprah sat in an elegant black chair, her fingers intertwined, a tight smile fixed on her lips, but her eyes revealed something else, caution, maybe fear. The host stepped between them and addressed the hushed audience. "Tonight," he said, "we witness something rare, where power in media and power in politics meet eye to eye." "Miss Leavitt," he continued, turning to her slowly, "you claim to hold evidence that could redefine how America views one of its most beloved figures. Is that true?" Leavitt didn't speak right away. She simply raised her hand and tapped the control panel. A screen lit up behind her, displaying an email titled, "Film Discussion, Oprah and Harvey, 2014. She began, her voice clear and cold. "We start with Harvey Weinstein," she said. "This email shows Oprah knew." The screen revealed, Oprah advising Weinstein to keep the project stable and avoid letting small troubles cause disruption. "These small troubles," Leavitt said sharply, "were early reports of Weinstein's abuse." Oprah sat upright, a flash of alarm in her eyes. She responded, "That email's context is distorted. I wasn't aware of anything serious at the time." A few audience members applauded, but others exchanged wary glances. Leavitt didn't budge. She cued a video. The face of a woman appeared on screen. "My name is Sarah Thompson," she began. "In 2012, I told Oprah that Harvey cornered me in a hotel." She paused, then added, "She placed her hand on my shoulder and said, 'There are bigger things to protect.'" The audience gasped. Some looked away. Others stared, stunned. "After that," Sarah continued, "I was cut from the film." Leavitt turned back to Oprah. "Why didn't you protect her?" she asked. The room erupted. Some people yelled, demanding answers. Others clapped in Oprah's defense. Oprah stood, eyes flashing. "I don't remember Sarah," she said, "and I wouldn't have silenced anyone." Leavitt remained composed. She tapped again. A memo appeared from a Weinstein Company staffer, stating Oprah had requested an internal complaint be managed swiftly. Leavitt's voice grew steely. "Oprah didn't just know. She helped contain it." The audience lost control. Some shouted, others booed, while many sat in disbelief. The host tried to calm the crowd, then turned to Leavitt again. "These are serious charges," he said. "Are the documents verified?" "Every one of them," she replied without breaking eye contact with Oprah. "And it's only the beginning." A woman yelled, "This is a witch hunt." Another countered, "She's telling the truth." The studio felt like a courtroom, and Leavitt was just warming up. She paused, then calmly said, "Let's talk about the Leadership Academy in South Africa." She pulled up a photo of the school, gates wide open, sunlight spilling across its white walls. "This school was Oprah's dream," Leavitt said, her voice even. A sanctuary for girls. She let the silence sink in before dropping the next bomb. But for some, it was a place where trauma began. Whispers rippled through the studio. Phones lowered. No one smiled now. She cued another video. A girl appeared, face partly hidden, voice shaking. "My name is Amina Nkosi," she said. "I was 14. She described how a dorm matron named Virginia Makopo targeted her and others. "We reported it," she said. "But after Oprah visited and apologized, nothing changed." Her voice cracked. "She gave us words, but no protection." The room went still. Even Oprah's supporters lowered their eyes. Leavitt turned, her voice slicing the silence. "You had the power to act," she said to Oprah, "but you chose to shield the institution." Oprah's face tightened. She stood slowly, replying, "I gave my heart to that school. I did everything I could." Leavitt responded by pulling up a 2007 contract. "This shows Oprah's lawyers worked to bury the case," she said. The crowd split, some booing, some defending her. "Why did you let her go free?" someone yelled from the front. Oprah's voice cracked, now louder. "These documents are being twisted. I would never hurt those girls." Leavitt didn't flinch. "You could have protected them," she said. "But you chose your image." The noise grew. Cries for justice for Amina clashed with "Leave Oprah alone." The host raised his hand again. "Miss Leavitt, can you confirm the source of these claims?" She nodded. "Verified and ready for public release." Victims can't wait anymore." She stood there, unblinking, gripping that USB. On the screen behind her, the image of the school vanished, replaced by silence thicker than before. Oprah sat frozen, gripping her chair's arms, her knuckles pale. The studio lights blazed above them both. Then Leavitt said, "Let's talk about another name, João de Deus." The audience bristled. She pressed the button. A clip played. From Oprah's 2010 show. In it, Oprah praised João, calling him a healer, a man of miraculous energy. The screen switched to a new video. A woman appeared. "I'm Maria Costa," she said. "I trusted Oprah's word. I flew to Brazil, and João assaulted me." Her voice cracked. "Oprah sold me a monster." Shock gripped the crowd. "You endorsed him," Leavitt said, then stayed silent when the truth came out. "Why?" Oprah replied, "I didn't. No. I believed in him. When I found out, I distanced myself." Leavitt brought up a document, financial ties between Oprah's brand and João's affiliates. "You didn't just praise him," she said. "You profited." The crowd cried, "Out! Lies! Proof!" they shouted. "You owe us the truth!" Oprah stood again. "I didn't take money to promote anyone," she said, nearly yelling. Her supporters clapped, but others fell quiet. Leavitt delivered the final blow of the segment. "This isn't the only time," she said. Then she revealed a quote from Oprah's aunt, saying the famous childhood poverty story was exaggerated, keeping roaches as pets, invented for sympathy. "You sold a story," Leavitt said, "and real people paid the price for believing it." The host stepped in, clearly shaken. "These are heavy accusations. Are these sources confirmed?" Leavitt nodded once more. "Every document, every testimony, and I'm not done yet." The host's lips parted to close the segment, but before he could utter a word, Karoline Leavitt lifted her hand slightly. "Not yet," she said calmly, her voice firm. The room quieted instantly. Even the camera crew froze, sensing the temperature drop in the atmosphere. The moment wasn't over, not until she revealed the last piece. With steady hands, Leavitt turned back to the control panel. The screen behind her lit up again, not with a video, but with a series of emails marked confidential. Studio strategy, monthly messaging. No explanation was needed. The emails spoke for themselves. Lines were highlighted. Phrases like, control the narrative, manage backlash, and Oprah will handle Monique flashed across the screen. Leavitt stepped forward and said clearly, "This is how the system works. A Hollywood legend using her clout to silence dissent." The words struck like thunder. A new kind of silence followed. Not stunned, but reflective. The studio now felt like a public trial. She continued. Monique starred in a powerful film, Precious. Oprah supported it. But when Monique refused to do unpaid international promotions, she was blacklisted. A video of Monique played next. Her voice, raw and strong, filled the room. "I told Oprah I had a family, a tour, commitments. I said no to flying across the world for free." Her tone hardened. "Suddenly, I was labeled difficult. Offers vanished. I was erased." The audience gasped. Some shouted, "Why?" Others whispered in disbelief. Leavitt turned slowly to Oprah. "You painted her as ungrateful, but she was just standing, up for her rights." Oprah stood, arms tense. "I supported her. What happened after was not my doing," she insisted. Leavitt pressed a button again. Another email appeared, short but sharp. From Oprah to a film executive. "Monique's personality is problematic. Move forward without her." Leavitt's voice echoed with precision. "You weren't just a supporter of films. You were a gatekeeper. You made decisions that cost people their careers." Oprah's voice rose, eyes flashing. "That email is fabricated. I've opened doors, not closed them." Her fans clapped. But there was hesitation now. A tremor of uncertainty ran through the crowd. Leavitt stood still, eyes locked on Oprah. "It wasn't just Monique," she said. The screen now displayed a list. Actors, writers, creators. Names blacklisted after conflicts with Oprah's empire. The host leaned forward, sweat visible at his brow. "Miss Leavitt," he said, almost whispering, "are you claiming Oprah manipulated Hollywood's power structure?" Leavitt nodded slowly. "This isn't a conspiracy. It's a pattern. Verified testimonies, real documents, and real lives altered." She turned back to the crowd. "Ask yourselves, how many stories were never told because someone said, 'Don't upset Oprah'?" Phones were out again, faces lit by screens as millions watched from home. Then Leavitt leaned into the microphone. "This isn't over." Her voice dropped. "There's a final recording." She tapped once more. The screen faded black. Then came a voice. Oprah's voice, from a private conversation. Clear. Chilling. "We need to keep Harvey stable. If this leaks, the entire project falls apart." The studio exploded. Screams. Shouts. A man stood, pointing. "You knew." "Oprah!" Oprah's face drained of color. "That's not real. I never said that," she cried, stepping forward. "This is a political hit job." She tried to continue, but her voice broke. Her defenders clapped, but it was faint, swallowed by louder cries. Leavitt stood firm, her voice rising above the chaos. "You can deny it, but victims like Sarah, Amina, Maria, and Monique deserve more than silence. They trusted you, and you betrayed them." The room was in uproar. Oprah's face twisted with fury. "You're nothing but a puppet," she said through clenched teeth. "I've built my life uplifting others, and now you're trying to destroy me?" But her words landed differently now. Her presence, once commanding, now seemed brittle. Her legacy trembling. Then, in a stunning moment, Oprah turned. She walked off the stage, no words, no goodbye, just the sound of heels retreating under the studio lights. The crowd was divided. Half clapped for her exit, others booed, others just sat, quiet, confused, devastated. Leavitt stood tall, not in celebration, but solemn duty. "Oprah may leave," she said to the audience, "but the truth stays." The studio erupted in applause. Even those who once doubted stood to clap. The host, visibly shaken, tried to regain control. "Karoline, how do you feel after this?" he asked. She looked at the camera directly. I'm not here for victory. I'm here for truth. The victims needed someone to speak for them. I just did what was right. The crowd applauded again, louder, longer. The moment had passed, but the impact wasn't over. Backstage, Leavitt sat in a quiet room, still holding the USB drive. Her phone buzzed with praise, hate, and threats. But she didn't open any messages. She just stared ahead, breathing slowly. Moments later, an assistant entered. Reporters are everywhere, she said. They want your statement. Leavitt nodded. But she knew this wasn't just about statements anymore. It was about survival. Hours passed. News broke like a flood. Conservative media hailed her as brave. Liberal commentators called her reckless. One viral tweet asked, "Is this justice or just revenge?" But among the noise, one anonymous post caught Leavitt's eye. "Thank you, Karoline. You spoke for us." Outside, social media had turned into a battlefield. Hashtags surged. Oprah exposed. Stand with Leavitt. Justice for Monique. Our fake smear campaign. YouTube clips racked up millions of views. Comment sections lit up with war. Leavitt's a hero versus Oprah's a victim. Talk shows debated. Celebrities took sides. Meanwhile, Oprah released a pre-recorded message. Calm, composed, yet defensive. I've lived to inspire. These are falsehoods meant to discredit me, she said. Her fans cheered, but sponsors quietly began withdrawing. Back at the White House, Leavitt faced a tense meeting with senior advisors. The liberal press is circling you, one warned. They'll dig into your entire life. But Karoline didn't flinch. Let them dig, she said. Everything I said is real. That night, she received another message from a verified Weinstein survivor. It simply said, "Don't back down." Leavitt held her breath, then smiled faintly. That was why she stood her ground. The next morning, the White House press room was jam-packed. Reporters elbowed for space, flashes popped, cameras streamed live. America was still torn, some calling Leavitt a villain, others calling her the voice of the voiceless. She took the podium slowly, papers in hand. Her voice didn't waver. I'm not here to destroy anyone, she said, but truth matters, and justice demands courage. She held up a folder. These are the documents, verified and now public. Decide for yourself. A hush fell. History wasn't just watching, it was being written. Karoline Leavitt had dared to confront a giant. And whether she was remembered as a truth-teller or a destroyer, one thing was certain: she had shattered the silence.